Hello guys and welcome back to another FPL video. My name is FPL Meerkat and today I've got my Gameweek 8 team selection for you guys. But before I get into that team, let's have a look at how the Gameweek 7 team did. And yeah, you're seeing that correctly. I am now in the top 100k after being about 700k last game week. I've gone from 2.8 mil to about 700k to now 80k pretty much. Like, it's been absolutely crazy these last couple game weeks with a score of 80 points there. I've really ridden my luck, to be honest. I'm really happy with how the team has turned out, but I've gotten very fortunate for things to have paid off this well. So yeah, just running through the team here. Bit unfortunate that I've got the double Arsenal defence and they still haven't kept a clean sheet in either of these two games. They looked really great on paper, but yeah, just not to be getting that clean sheet. FaZe coming into the team for a 6-pointer, absolutely hilarious. I'm only playing him because the bench I have is so terrible. Played him at home to Bournemouth and he managed to get a clean sheet. I cannot ask for any more. Thank you very much, Leicester, for getting that clean sheet. And I will be probably playing him again next game week as well. And Trent getting a clean sheet as he normally does. There is consideration to look to move him on as the fixtures get a bit tougher for Liverpool. But for the time being, I'm very happy with Trent getting that 8-pointer, a couple bonus as well. He was very close to getting full bonus yet again. But yeah, really good performance from him. Salah getting a blank was a little bit of a shame. Didn't look too great in the fixture. Yeah, I was really hoping for some returns from him, but nevertheless, it was an all right performance from the team overall. He was carried by the rest of the players. Palmer getting a 6-pointer could have been a hell of a lot more if the rest of his team were better at finishing, and if Sells didn't have such a brilliant performance. Yeah, he could have got a lot more points, but we will absolutely take the 6-pointer from Palmer there. Captain Saka obviously was the thing that made this game week an absolutely immense 32 points there. I did think that Haaland was the best captaincy choice this game week. I'll be totally honest. If I had Haaland in my team, I would have captained him. I thought Saka was the second best option, so I've just gotten lucky from that point of view. But I have seen a lot of people say that they thought Saka was the best captaincy pick, but they captained Haaland due to safety. I wouldn't perceive it this early on in the game, to be honest. I would just purely go on captain the player you think scores the most points in your team and just look at it like that. The safety element and the effective ownership element does not matter this early on. It's really early on. The effective ownerships of players are going to skew all the time. If you don't know what I mean by effective ownerships, by the way, it's the ownership of a player from active managers who are actively changing their teams and making transfers, not the dead teams like players that make a team and then they just leave it and they've already left the game, not made any transfers, stuff like that. So yeah, pretty fortunate there, but it was a home fixture against Southampton. His goal at the very end of the game was pretty lucky. It was a tackle that fell straight to him, which he put away, and yeah, just absolutely immense goal creating stats from Saka, which luckily gave him a huge score of 32 points with the captaincy armband. Bumo was also very heavily on my radar for captaincy. I thought he was second best in my team, and he did end up being the second highest score, tied. But yeah, really great performance from him again. Getting a penalty, that's kind of just what we have these players for sometimes. Team scored 5 goals and he only really got one of them. He was playing quite wide, I thought, in the game, so maybe something to monitor, but he's going absolutely nowhere in my team. Absolutely amazing value for Bumo, being the talisman for that Brentford team on penalties, on I believe quite a few set pieces as well. Just going to be that force that really ticks over, scores goals, gets assists. I don't actually know if he's got any assists yet, but creating the chances. Rodgers there with a 3-pointer and Watkins also with a 2-pointer, blanking in the same game there. Really should have got some returns, to be honest. Watkins and Rodgers were setting each other up the whole time, but didn't get any returns there, which is a little bit of a shame. And Chris Wood getting a return in my team, which was nice, given I thought I'd made a mistake in the previous game week, but I kept the faith and thought he'd start to get returns, and that's exactly what he did. Chris Wood, funnily enough, has actually only returned when the game week has been an odd number. He's only returned in game weeks 1, 3, 5 and 7, and he's blanked in all the even numbers. So maybe there's a trend there. I think it's just coincidence, but a funny thing to observe there. So yeah, an 80-pointer giving me a huge green arrow there. I rarely ever get up this high. So all of you who have watched the channel for the last couple of years, probably thinking, what on earth's going on? You're not supposed to be this kind of rank. You make mental decisions by selling Haaland, but it's really paid off. And this is why I did it, because if there was a game week where Haaland blanked and the other players did well, I would rocket up in the ranks because Haaland is so heavily captained. The green arrows are significantly bigger than the reds, as long as my premiums do return. If they all blank, then it's gone terribly. But yeah, I've been pretty fortunate that he's blanked twice. I have watched the highlights, and to be honest, he could have returned on multiple occasions. I think he had 5 shots in the first 15 minutes. So yeah, pretty fortunate on that behalf. But this is exactly why I've set up the team this way. But not for much longer, because as we get into the Game Week 8 team selection, Haaland is on the picture there. Haaland is my captain, apparently, on the little thing there. I'm recording this video now during the international break whilst I've got the time to record this video. And yeah, basically, Haaland will be my captain. I will bring him in this week for sure. Not a 50-50 sort of. I'm about 95% sure I'm bringing in Haaland. The only reason I haven't made the transfers yet is because it's an international break and there could be injuries. Something could change my team. So if everyone's fully fit, then yeah, Haaland's going to come in, and it's going to be McNeil that also comes in. So I'm going to be selling Salah and I'm going to be selling Watkins, which reluctantly so. Both of those players have done very well in my team, but I think McNeil is a very good differential right now. The fixtures for Everton look great. He is, to be honest, the most prevalent threat in that Everton side as well. And I do expect them to bounce back a lot better than what they've been at the start of the season. The fixtures are getting a bit worse for Liverpool. Obviously, I don't really want to sell Salah, but to get in Haaland, I will have to. And Watkins, again, it's a fixture thing. The fixtures are just turning for Villa, and he is my route to get back Haaland. And yeah, I've happily backed against him for 5 game weeks. It worked out for 3 of the game weeks. 2 of them, it went pretty devastating, game week 3 and 4. But I think I've backed it for long enough, and I think I need to go back to owning Haaland. So yeah, I have enough money to just do Salah, Watkins to Haaland, McNeil. I think it will give me about 0.8, I believe, in the bank. I can't exactly remember. I do really like the look of Johnson, Brennan Johnson, as a midfielder instead. I'm 0.1 million short, so I unfortunately can't go there. I'm a little bit worried about not owning any Spurs attack. Their fixtures are turning to be really good. They just look like they're scoring goals for fun. So in my head, so I'm definitely doing these 2 transfers, right? My transfers are pretty much locked in. Salah and Watkins to Haaland and McNeil. In Game Week 9, for my Game Week 9 team, I am heavily considering Son, who is currently injured right now. It will obviously be dependent on if he gets over his injury, if he comes back from that. Heavily considering doing Saka to Son, given that Arsenal's fixtures are about to change for the worse and Son's fixtures are changing for the better, and then I'll probably offload Son again when the fixtures get a bit worse for Spurs. So I'm still going with this strategy that I've been going with since I wildcarded in Game Week 3, which is rotating the premiums. I just think it is the best strategy to maximize points, because they're going to be your main points getters, as we've seen so far this season. I think all 4 of the premiums are basically the top 4 point scorers. Correct me if I'm wrong. But those 4 premiums of Salah, Palmer, Saka and Haaland seem to be the best points getters, and just essentially rotating between them and having the best fixtures, the best ones at each given time. And I just think that Haaland is going to outperform Salah. And then I think Son might start outscoring Saka once Game Week 9 comes around. I would obviously like to have a Spurs attacker. I have had an eye on Solanke, but to be honest, watching the Spurs games, I'm not too thrilled with Solanke's positioning. Seems to be playing very deep, a lot like Kane did for some games previously for Spurs. And yeah, I'm just not confident on Solanke. I genuinely prefer all 3 of Son, Maddison and Johnson over Solanke right now. It's purely because he's a forward and I might need a forward is why I'd go for Solanke at this point. But yeah, I am currently looking at that. And in terms of the rest of the team, still fine with a double. Arsenal defence, they've put up a stupidly low expected goals conceded, just gotten unlucky with conceding the goals. Trent is staying there for now. I'm not too, I don't think I'll do too well in terms of points this game week, given I've got Palmer and Trent playing each other. I don't think it's going to go too well. Bumo's playing Man United as well. Rodgers against Fulham I'll have as well, which, I don't think it will be too great. I'm looking to carry Trent forward for a little bit longer. I could look to move him to someone like Gvardiol and capitalise on those good fixtures for Man City. But to be honest, I just haven't been too amazed by the Man City defence. Liverpool's defence has looked a lot more solid. They've only conceded 2 goals so far. That is obviously because their fixtures have been so brilliant. You would have expected Trent to be the top scoring defender at this point in the season because the fixtures were so good for Liverpool. But his attacking threat is still there, still on all the set pieces. And yeah, I think there's definitely a goal coming for Trent in the near future. So I would like to hold on to him, even if the clean sheets do start to dry up a little. At the time being, I'm perfectly happy keeping him in the team. Faze starting again against Southampton. Maybe I get a clean sheet from him. It's probably one of the best fixtures this week. I don't think there are many other defenders that I'm more confident getting a clean sheet on. So yeah, hopefully Faze gets me something in that game. He's proving to be quite a nice differential purely because my bench is so bad. And yeah, I'm just benching Robinson there with the home fixture at Villa. I would expect Villa to score despite the fact they didn't against United in the previous game week. Salah is there. If I did keep Salah, I probably would captain him against Chelsea just because they've got quite a few injuries right now and the other options just aren't standing out to me. And usually when no options are standing out to me, I will just pick the best player or maybe the most expensive player. And I think that is just Salah in this team. Palmer definitely does make an argument, but it is away at Liverpool, who have been the best defence so far. So I just don't see why I'd captain Palmer in this fixture. And in terms of getting rid of Palmer, obviously he scored a ton of points. Lots of people are now transferring him in after that 25-pointer. That's exactly what I did after he scored his 17-pointer, I think it was, against Wolves. Saw the player and was like, I have to have him in my team. He's ridiculously good. And luckily I've had him for this haul. And he will probably be staying for most of the season. I genuinely think Palmer is the second best player in the game after Haaland. And because he's so much cheaper, he might genuinely be the best player in the game. His ability to create chances, his goal threat. He's basically got the creation chances, creating chances as much as De Bruyne did, but he's got goal threat as well. So yeah, he's just an incredibly good asset. And despite the fact the fixtures are tougher for Palmer, I want to stick with him because he can still get returns in these games, and they're not the worst fixtures on paper. This is his worst right now, away to Liverpool. So if I can just get through that, maybe people will sell him after he's blanked. I think he will start to get a lot more returns. Saka is timing me that my team is probably going to be short-lived now. But yeah, really happy I got the return from him. Some consideration to captain him. It's a pretty good game against Bournemouth, but I'm going to get in Haaland, and yeah, I'm gonna captain him. So it's not being around the bush there. Bumo, like I've said, an all right fixture. Rodgers, I think, is a bit of a tough fixture, so not too confident on that. Chris Wood, pretty good fixture against Crystal Palace, and yeah, he's definitely making a name for himself as the talisman of that Nottingham Forest team. Got penalties as well, but as I discussed, it's an even number, so maybe he will blank in this. But yeah, I think it's a pretty good chance for Wood to get some returns. And then obviously Watkins is going to become Haaland, who will be my captain. It's one of those cases where I'm just not overthinking it. I remember I made a very infamous tweet before the last time City played Wolves and said, Haaland's not going to do much against them. They're a really solid defence. He scored 4 goals in that game. And Wolves had looked shocking defensively. Dawson does seem to do a good job against Haaland. So clip this if come back in 2 weeks' time, Haaland has blanked and Dawson has pocketed him. But I'm just not going to overthink it. Wolves look like a terrible defence right now. Conceded 5 to Brentford. He's the striker. He's out of form, but that doesn't really matter when it comes to Haaland. He barely needs chances to return. So yeah, he's definitely coming in. He's definitely being my captain. Obviously, the defence is pretty rubbish. The reason mainly I'm going for McNeil is that McNeil will be Salah instead, who, again, great fixtures. Ipswich the next game, really the best time to possibly jump in on McNeil. And yeah, I think he's become a new player playing in this number 10 role. A lot more attacking, and his creative numbers are still absolutely amazing. They were last season, and they are again. He's just a real force in that Everton team, and I think they will start to bounce back with the turn of their fixtures. I am definitely eyeing up the Wolves assets, though. The likes of a Cunha and a Aït-Nouri. I think they'll be the only two that I could possibly consider. Cunha, that talismanic on penalties, probably. We don't actually know if he's definitely on penalties, but he's getting all of the expected goal involvement for that Wolves side. And yes, they might look terrible, but again, Wolves have had the toughest fixtures by a mile so far, and after game week 9 they're going to get much better. So Chris Wood to Cunha will definitely be a move that I consider at some point. Probably game week 10 I think is the best time to make that switch, but for right now I'm very happy with Chris Wood. I'm very happy to hold off on Cunha for now. In terms of Aït-Nouri, he will probably come in for Nedeljkovic to give me some more solidity with the bench so that I'm not constantly having to play FaZe all the time. Although I do say that, I'm very happy with FaZe so far. To be honest, I'm pretty sure you can go back in a previous video. The reason I got FaZe in the first place was because he rotated well with Robinson. So I've posted my team and I've seen quite a few comments saying, "Oh, you've got lucky there getting points from FaZe." This is the reason why I got him, is so that I could bench Robinson to play him for the better fixtures, and he got a clean sheet in it. So is it lucky if that's what I wanted to do and it worked out? I mean, it is Leicester's defence, so yeah, it probably was a bit lucky. But yeah, I'm really happy with how the team looks right now, and I'm going to get in my nice safety blanket of Haaland, use both my free transfers to do it. That will be all my free transfers gone, but yeah, very happy with the moves that I'm planning on doing. Let me know if there's any other transfers you think I should do instead, but I'm pretty well set on these transfers. Just going to wait until after the international break. And I've got good enough team value to not worry about the price drops. Salah price dropping didn't affect me. And I think McNeil rose in price, Haaland rose in price. But again, that 0.3 doesn't matter because I'd much rather wait for information rather than being silly and making transfers like potentially bringing in an injured Raya in game week 6, which ended up being lucky anyway. But yeah, I'm still yet to get a clean sheet from my goalkeeper, by the way. 7 game weeks in, haven't got a clean sheet from the goalkeeper, so maybe I've cursed it. And then moving on to the mini league team of the game week, once again, and over 100 points, 101 here with a game week rank inside the top 1,000 here. Dung Yuen, I believe, is the name. Yeah, with 101 points. Absolutely ridiculous team here. The main thing getting such a high score was Pickford. Having Pickford for his annual penalty save, clean sheets, maximum bonus. He seems to do this once every season, and now is the time. Collins as well for his goal and assist, I believe it was, despite conceding 3 goals. Massive haul for Collins. Okoli as well, the other Leicester centre-back, is pretty nice. Even got a bonus point as well. Captain Saka, like all of the high-scoring managers did this game week. Havertz getting a return, Wood getting a return, Boomer getting a return, and Palmer getting a return. This guy even has Haaland in his team. He's a Haaland owner and ended up being the top score in the mini-league this game week. So, yeah, really well to you, Dung. And just looking at the leaderboard, it's just pretty much exactly the same. Most teams here it's just made up with teams getting the medals. As you can see, 8 gold medals there. I know we've only had 7 game weeks, but that's because there was a tie for first place in one of the game weeks. And yeah, there's a couple there getting 2 top 20 finishes, but nobody's got 3 so far, and none of the gold medalists have put them above with another top 20 finish. By the way, my 80 points this game week was 21st in the mini league. So I nearly got myself off the mark, but not quite. So yeah, in a mini league of 3,000 people, you 20 here are doing an excellent job given how many players there are. So yeah, really well done to you guys. And that's going to wrap it up for this video, guys. I hope you've enjoyed. Please leave a like and get subscribed to the channel if you are enjoying this kind of content, if you just enjoy this sort of casual talk about FPL. And yeah, I hope you all have a brilliant game week, and I'll see you in the next FPL video.